told you. You don't fuck around
It
with us,
is
Nick. You could have said off the
2:20
phone away.
a.m.
Enough of that fortune cookie shit. What happened?
I just awoke from a little nap. You know I'm part
Exclusive. We
vampire.
left you early. Your bullshit will be gone. And what happens when Matt Freddy finds out about
I
this?
still
Because he
gotta
sure
go
as
back
shit
to
will.
bed because I
Not
gotta
all
get
of
up in the
that.
morning and
Of
watch these
course it
kids.
is.
But I
This
had to
guy is
get on
something
here live for a minute. I didn't have time to really sit
Matt
down
Freddy
and
is nothing. He meant
construct a
nothing in the
video.
big picture. You were the one who
Let
kept
me
pushing
turn
him.
this TV down. I've
Now
got
we give you
Tulsa
up the
King
call.
on.
Rush it into a cube.
Here's my remote.
I'll handle it. Really? What about your friend Auntie? What if Matt Freddy talks to him?
Alrighty then. So that won't interfere too much. Whew. There's one person already here in the chat. At least I think. I've been having pretty good luck having one or two people pop in and they leave. I'm not going to be long though.
Tyson's dead.
Quincy Jones is dead.
Where are you? Call me back.
That makes me sad. I know he was 91, lived a long, fruitful life. Oh goodness, I'm falling apart here. But being from Seattle, we have a little bit of a connection with Quincy. Quincy spent many of his earlier years here. His father moved here when Quincy was small, and he grew up here in Seattle, attended Garfield High School. As a teenager, he went off to play with Ray Charles. In Seattle, we used to have long before I was even born. They had I can't remember what they would call it, but it was where the Chinatown area is now. But that's where all the jazz clubs were, and Ray Charles used to be a big headliner there, and Quincy was just a kid. He was a teenager, but he was so talented that Ray was like, "Man, you need to you need to go on the road." But what I remember most about Quincy Jones was not just Quincy Jones. I remember Quincy Jones's mama. And as a kid, I grew up in the central area, which was, every big city has a black area. And back then it was the CD for us, Central District. And of course, it has been gentrified since then because people figured that, hey, it was prime property. It was at one point in time, it was redlined and only black people could buy property in that area. But it was so close to downtown Seattle that people figured, maybe we should move them all out and get that area back. But I digress. When I was a girl, I remember sitting on my front porch and I used to watch Quincy Jones's mother walk by my house every day. Every day she would just walk. Now, many of you probably don't know that Mrs. Jones was kind of not all together. But she never bothered anybody. She never talked crazy to people. People didn't bother her. But I remember Quincy Jones's mother would walk through our neighborhood practically every day. She'd walk right by the house. I don't know where she was going. None of my business. But she was a figure in our community back then, and we knew who she was. But we had respect. That we did. So I know I got on live, and it didn't take long to say all that. But I figured I would get on live just in the event that somebody would hop into the chat. I'm gonna miss Quincy, but his music will always live on. I mean, we all know what he did with Michael. Michael Jackson. You know, he was part of one of the biggest albums ever created. He was a mastermind at music and very, very, very talented. He was able to combine so many different genres together. You know, he originally started out with the bebop kind of thing, you know, the jazz and stuff like that, but he created much more from that. And I'm very blessed to be a part of witnessing that, you know. Quincy Jones, dead at 91. Man, him and Michael up there in heaven now. Matter of fact, him, Michael, Prince, Whitney, Luther. Can you imagine the choir? The choir in heaven right now of all that talent that's passed on just from my generation alone. I mean, man, music back when I was coming up was just, it was universal. It wasn't a certain age bracket that listened to our music. I remember old people, young people, we all vibed to the same music. If you was a little kid, you were vibing to the OJs just like the old people in the next room vibing to the OJs. Back then, families would have people over, you know, eat and drink and all that, party. And the kids, they'd call the kids out, come here, come dance for us. Now, that didn't happen in my household because my grandparents, they wasn't having it. They were unique, to say the least. They didn't fraternize with people. That's another story for another day. But I can remember people in that time, that's at least my people in that time, you know, it was more inclusive. Music has always been real inclusive. And Quincy played a big role in that. Matter of fact, Quincy's daughter dated Tupac. Yeah. I remember his wife, Peggy Lipton, played on a TV show called The Mod Squad. Imagine, the shows back then were kind of corny in comparison to what y'all watch now. But, you know, it's just sad to see one of our icons gone. And I know everybody's destined to leave this earth. Let's be real about it. But yeah, and let me see, he died November 3rd, so, and Diddy's birthday is November 4th. Happy birthday, Diddy. I'm not going to talk about you tonight, Diddy, but there will be more to come when I talk about you, because I'm going to definitely drag you whenever I get a chance. Yeah. Gotta drag Diddy. Well, I guess I could sit here for a couple more minutes and see if anybody jumps into my chat. I've only been on here for 9 minutes. But I didn't want to create this big elaborate video. It's 2:30 in the morning now. Yeah, now it's 2:30. And I need to get my tail to sleep. So the best way for me to get my thoughts out there is to do a live and let it replay. People, if they want to see it, they can go back and see it, and they probably won't watch the whole thing anyway. Chicky, why do I got 5 missed calls from you? Because it fucking happened, that's why, Chicky. What did? Try to clip one of my fucking... Man, Freddie personally? I don't know. Other than that, ain't nothing much happening. It was Sunday, nice day to recuperate from the marriage ball. We had a good time, and we recuperated all day yesterday. I've been able to kind of catch up on a couple of my shows. I like The Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone, which I'm really not kind of paying attention to it right now because I'm talking to you. But before that, I watched a show called From. Well, I guess I did miss a couple of episodes. Anyway, skip that intro. From is really creepy. For those of you who don't know what that show is about, it's really creepy. And yeah, I suggest you, if you like scary shows or suspenseful shows, um, check it out. It's on MGM Plus. I think you have to have a subscription for that, but it's really good. It's season 3 now. And these people, it's a little tiny, looks almost like a rest stop, but it's a tiny town where people end up by mistake and they can't get out. And how you know that this person's going to be stuck there is that they come across a tree in the road. Once you come across that tree in the road, you're sucked. You're sucked and screwed. And there's these creatures that come out at night. They look human, but they're not. And they rip you to shreds. So they have talismans that the people, wherever they're living in this little town, um, they can hang that talisman by the front door, front window, or wherever in the structure that they're in, and that protects them from the boogeyman's outside. And I guess you can't kill them, but they're awful. And it's really, now that we're into season 3, it screws your mind up. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're into weird shows that haven't been done before, because it seems like in the industry now they just regurgitate old stuff. Shows just regurgitate one another. It's ridiculous. The old sitcoms, they regurgitate them into today's times, and they may change the color of the individuals in the show, but the premise still seems the same. you know Same old thing, different day. But this show right here is different. So if you're looking for something different, my suggestion would be to check out From. And like I said, it's got 3 seasons. They're in the middle of season 3 now. I think episode 7 is up right now. So I'm just talking and talking, trying to pass the time. But nevertheless, I'm going to give this thing 15 minutes. I'm not going to do 15 more minutes. I'm going to go until it hits 15 minutes, and then I'm out. For some reason, whenever I hit skip, it just sticks. Bizarre. Go figure. Oh. Oh. Just a few seconds left. Well, almost a few. Less than a minute, and then I'm tapping out. But for anyone who comes back to watch this video, if you've watched it to the end, thank you. I need the views. I appreciate the views, and if you do happen to see the replay, hit the like button. I sure would appreciate it. People might be able to watch the first 2 minutes or so. I'd appreciate that. People just don't hit the like button these days. I don't know if that means that they just don't like it or they just forget. You ain't gotta like it, just hit the like button anyway.
There was an intent on Dwight's life. It's possible this guy was involved.
And Dwight blames you.
Not yet, but
Okay, well, The time has come
They gotta go in the
to
FBI.
depart. So, with that said,
Yeah, it's not a
like,
bad
share,
idea.
and subscribe.
Relocate to help
Thank
get
you
a
so
job.
much. Peace.
What about you and the kids?